Do you like playing with balls? No, I'm not talking about footballs. I mean your balls. Our friends at Manscaped, the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming, want you to shave your pubes with the Tom Brady of ball trimmers, the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Only the GOAT technology for the greatest balls of all time. When you're going towards the end zone, make sure you use the right tools for the job and choose Manscaped. 2 million men worldwide trust them, so join the movement with our exclusive offer by using code DTR at manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping.
Stafford under pressure, and a tuck it, and he's in! Darrell Henderson, he's off and running! Has Woods, touchdown! Cooper Kupp just went up and took it away.
Van Jefferson for the touchdown.
Aaron Donald smothers him. Jalen Ramsey with the pop-up. Sacked by Leonard Floyd, having a day again.
Darius Williams with a diving hit. Jordan Fuller comes up with his second interception of the night.
All right, guys, welcome back to Downtown Rams. As always, I'm your host, Alexis Kraft, joined here with my co-host, Jake Ellenbogen. And guys, with the NFL season here, you need a sportsbook with integrity and longevity like BetUS. You may already know this, but BetUS have been pioneers in the sportsbook industry for almost 3 decades, thriving and paying their loyal customer base. That is BETUS.com, and they have loads of bonuses. Join now or call 800-69-BET-US. That is 800-MY-BET-US. You receive a 125% sign-up bonus by using bonus code RAMS125. They have re-up and referral bonuses also. BetUS is known as America's favorite sportsbook for a lot of reasons. BetUS has all your NFL games with team and player props and loads of futures. You can bet UFC matches, props, PGA golf, round matchups, and live betting on most sports as well. The online casino has hundreds of games, and the racebook has all your horse tracks. They have every bet type imaginable, and the sharp BetUS mobile platform is easy with full betting options. Follow my lead and get your phone, online, and social sports betting partner with integrity and longevity like I did. BetUS. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS. All right, Jake, we are coming to everyone live a few days before the Rams take on the Detroit Lions in Los Angeles. And Jake, it goes without saying, but what everyone is thinking about this game is one thing and one thing only, and that is Jared Goff. Like it or not, no matter how bad the Lions have been this season, no matter how bad, you can consider them as a team, whatever you think about them, the main storyline about this game is Jared Goff returning to Los Angeles to take on his old team, the Los Angeles Rams, who, as we all know, drafted him number 1 overall in 2016. A lot of history there. He led the Rams to a Super Bowl. Obviously got a really big contract from the Rams, and the Rams, for a period of time thought that Jared Goff was going to be our franchise quarterback for a long time. And obviously the last couple seasons that he had with the Rams didn't really pan out. He did not play very well. There was a lot of, speculation that Sean McVay, wasn't into Jared Goff and was ready to move on. And then, his gameplay didn't help. So we end up trading Jared Goff to the Detroit Lions, along with 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick for Matthew Stafford, who is now our quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams. And we are going to see him, I guess, as well, face off against his old team, the Detroit Lions. So, Jake, do you think that this is the biggest storyline this week?
Oh, I mean, yeah, it definitely is. I think, Goff or Stafford, Goff or McVay, however you want to look at it, involves Jared Goff. Because I'm not going to say this is an unprecedented thing, but it's rare. The Rams, the situation they were put in with Jared Goff falling off a cliff as far as play and production and consistency is concerned. You don't see many teams have to make a move like that. And on top of it, you don't see many quarterbacks as good as Matthew Stafford become available on the trade market. So, I think it was kind of, in a sense, unprecedented because, you're dealing a young 25, 26-year-old Jared Goff for, Matthew Stafford, who was drafted in 2009. But at the same time, it ends up being one of those things where you made the right decision. And right now, coming into this game, Jared Goff isn't playing as well as I would expect coming into this game. I probably at this point would have thought the Lions, coming into the season, I would have thought they'd be 3-3 or 2-4 at this point. And albeit they've lost some games literally on the last seconds, but I thought, Dan Campbell did a really nice job of kind of summing it up and saying, look, we need our quarterback to play better. I mean, it's that simple. And he was nearly in tears saying it. It just, he's not been what they need. And, we can continue to talk about the weapons and all that. I've watched every Lions game. This is a team that I've kind of pulled for, because of Goff, because of, Aubrey Pleasant, because of Michael Brockers. I just like the team in general, Swift and Hawkinson. I mean, they're very likable. They have players that you can root for. But with that said, this is a team that, maybe they're down to the wire every game because they can only score 17 points because Jared Goff isn't doing enough on offense. And again, albeit there's been, there was an injury to Tyrell Williams. I expect him to be out for the rest of the year. They're pretty much down to Khalif Raymond, Amon-Ra St. Brown, a rookie out of USC, and Kadarius Hodge, who, was with the Rams, and he played 89% of snaps last week, or not 83, and Khalif Raymond played 89. Keep in mind, Hodge was a special teamer fighting for playing time with the Browns. Khalif Raymond was the kick returner and kind of turned into the wide receiver 4/3 for the Titans last year. And Amon-Ra St. Brown is a rookie. And they're being asked to play huge roles in this offense. So much so, TJ Hawkinson isn't even getting the opportunities that they are. Jared Goff is just simply not throwing to him because teams are taking Hawkinson out of the game plan. So, it's been unfortunate. I mean, I know you and I both were kind of in the same boat wanting Jared Goff to succeed because, we do appreciate what he meant to the organization. But I'm not going to lie to you. He obviously has not, succeeded so far. They're 0-6. And this is desperation time against his old team.
Yeah, and I'm going to slightly disagree about why the Lions aren't winning. Not even really disagree, but I see a lot of the Lions games as well because I live in the Chicago area, and the Lions are in the NFC North, as are the Bears. So they play a lot of NFC North games up here because obviously people want to see what their rival teams are doing. So I have seen a lot of the Lions game, and I agree with you on the point that the Lions should not be 0-6 or 0-5 or whatever they are right now. I've watched their games and I felt like a lot of them were games that they should have and could have won. However, on the topic of Jared Goff, I sort of am in the belief, and I want everyone to keep in mind that I was very, very critical of Jared Goff a long time before a lot of other people were, unfortunately. And, so I'm not trying to make excuses for Jared Goff. But when I've watched the Lions, I have seen a lot of plays where his offense have let him down. And Jared Goff, and again, I'm not saying that Jared Goff is playing anywhere near where he should be, but also I think we have to keep in mind, Jared Goff went from the Rams, where he has really, really great weapons, to the Lions, which in my opinion have two weapons. They have TJ Hawkinson and DeAndre Swift. I actually really like Jamal Williams. I'm not impressed with any of their other receivers. I've been watching them, like I said, all season. No one really does anything. Raymond's made a few good catches. Amon-Ra has made progress. Amon-Ra St. Brown, who you mentioned earlier, I just don't see him get the ball a lot. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's a game plan thing or if Jared Goff just isn't finding him or what it is. I wish they would involve him more because in my opinion, the Detroit Lions are missing a Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods. They just don't have anybody. They have a good tight end in TJ Hawkinson, who I like a lot. I feel like he's honestly not even targeted enough. I feel like he's the guy in Detroit. And it's kind of tough to have the guy be a tight end, especially when none of the other receivers are really doing anything. But I will agree that Jared Goff also, needs to do more. There are a lot of plays where Jared Goff just kind of is back, as we watched him with the Rams. He makes a lot of questionable decisions still. which I imagine is
I'm going to be honest
really
with you.
hard.
He's the same quarterback as he was last year, which is the biggest issue. He is exactly what he was last year. His average, his intended air yards or average air yards per attempt is 6.4 this year. Guess what it was last year? 6.4. He is literally the same quarterback making the same mistakes without bigger names to help him out. So
right, he's no help, and that's the problem. He can't be in an offense where he doesn't have stars.
I mean, the problem
because he's
is
not
though,
the star.
He's essentially Sam Bradford. I mean, that's really what he is. Although I think Bradford at times showed more than what he's showing this year.
Bradford's just tough because I do think Bradford had a lot more potential than Goff, but Bradford's injuries, I think, just derailed him. I want to point out the Lions' offensive line as well, because honestly, so obviously Sewell, their rookie left tackle, is great. Love him. You and I both loved him in the draft.
Yes.
Jonah Jackson, their left guard, is pretty solid. And then the rest of their line, I have to say that right side of the line, I'm not a huge fan of. I feel like if you look at their right side of the offensive line, they're not the worst that we will go against this season, but they're not doing Jared Goff any favors. I'll just say that.
Well, I think part of the problem is they are dealing with a lot of injuries, as we kind of alluded to with the receiver core, with Tyrell Williams being out and so forth. But, I think the big thing here is that they did lose, and potentially for the year. I believe it is for the year. They lost arguably the best center in the league in Frank Ragnow. I mean, that's a huge loss. Tyrell Crosby's been on IR. So you have Frank Ragnow on IR. You have Tyrell Crosby, who would either be a starter or a really good backup. They've been dealing with some injuries, and I think that's been a big issue, especially Quintez Cephas at the IR. I think that was probably their best receiver that no one was talking about. Halapuli Vaitai to me is just not very good. Matt Nelson is not someone who I would have expected to be starting at this point. And now you're starting Evan Brown at center because of the injury. So you're right. I mean, that right side is brutal. But at the same time, Jared Goff has to be aware of that. And he holds on the ball too long. And he's missing throws down the field. He has Khalif over the top, or he has, Amon-Ra on the post, or he has, Kadero on and out, and he just misses it. And I think it's one of those things where, yes, of course, the offensive line, but if you're in the NFL and you're a starting quarterback in the NFL and you're considered a valuable asset, so much so a team traded to get you. Obviously they traded away Stafford, but keep in mind, they did trade for Jared Goff. They didn't just ask for picks. So there is value there in their belief. And, quite honestly, you have to make more plays than you do. And we've seen it. We'll see it tonight, since we're recording this on a Thursday. We'll see Case Keenum is going to have to go out there with the Browns not being the Browns. He's not going to have any semblance of the elite running game with Hunt and, Chubb out, potentially OBJ and Jarvis out. You know what I mean? So it's you have to step up in those moments. And we'll see, if Keenum does that tonight. But it's one of those things where, that excuse can only go so far. If you're not making any sort of play whatsoever, it's not really going to pay off. And I haven't seen Jared Goff look somewhat sharp since the first half against the Packers.
Life is back on, sports bettors, and BetUS has your NBA, NHL, UFC, PGA, and yes, NFL betting lines up on their 27th year and live betting on all of it. Log into BetUS, that is BETUS.com, or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BETUS. BetUS for 125% bonuses with promo code RAMS125. Customer service pros are ready to get your phone, social, and online sports betting kickoff started now. Play with the proven mainstay in the industry, BetUS. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Ready for an out-of-world experience, fellas? Look no further than the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped. That has just taken off in not only the USA, but Canada, the UK, across Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your whole solar system in. First scheduled for liftoff, new Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. This spaceship is here to guide you on a journey to trim your body, balls, butt, and even your anus. This 4th generation trimmer also features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. Thanks to our advanced skin-safe technology, the Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor and a new multifunction on and off switch that can engage a travel lock and is even waterproof. The Lawnmower 4.0 also has a 4000K LED spotlight you can turn on and off when needed for a more precise shave throughout your travels across the universe. The Performance 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker. It's like having a little astronaut to chop your worst weeds up the top of your nose and your ears. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual-blade system. This nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. Don't forget about the Crop Preserver, ball deodorant, and the Crop Reviver to help your little planets be on their A-game while feeling the sun's heat. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Abort hairy balls, Buzz Lightyear that Woody with Manscaped.
So looking at the Lions going against their offense, going against the Rams defense, who is 4th in the league right now and played very well against the Giants. Now keep in mind, it was a very beat up Giants offense. I'll give that to them. However, regardless, we played very well. And if you are the Detroit Lions going against our defense, what do you do? Like I said, you don't have a ton of receiving weapons other than TJ Hawkinson and then Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond's okay. You have DeAndre Swift and you have Jamal Williams, but you are going up against Aaron Donald. And Jalen Ramsey and, Taylor Rapp, Jordan Fuller, all these guys that have been playing very well. So in your opinion, what would the Lions have to do to be successful against us?
Well, I think it's all about keeping the football. The only way you're going to beat a team like the Rams that are that explosive is if you can tire out the defense. But while tiring them out, you keep them on the field. So you're not scoring on, 6-7 play drives. You're taking 14, 15, 16, and 17 plays to score. If they can just dink and dunk and just, take advantage of course, this defense that does like to play off because they like to play bend, don't break. If they can do that, then the Lions have a shot to keep it close. But we just know that's not the case because here's the thing. Regardless of what you could do, to take the, basically throw underneath and just keep death by 1,000 paper cuts, this Rams defense. This Rams defense, Sean McVay and pretty much everyone in the building that was there last year knows Jared Goff like the back of their hand. They know his tendencies. He's the same quarterback as last year. He hasn't changed anything about his game. So I think if it was like a different quarterback, so say the Rams play Carson Wentz again, or the Rams played Jalen Hurts and they were just dumping it off, with that, mobility, they could kind of scare the Rams a little bit. They could keep it close. This is why I don't expect it to be close, is because they have all the injuries and all that we talked about. Guys are going to have a hard time separating if the Rams decide not to play off man, like, they probably will. But regardless, why would you ever play man against Jared Goff? Goff's issue is he can't read the field quick enough. So you're going to be in zone the whole game. And so, I just think it's a nightmare for Jared Goff. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets off to a hot start, just the scripted 15 plays to start off. They just call the right ones, whatever, move down the field. I mean, we saw the Giants, Daniel Jones and company move down the field. The Giants led that game 3-0 going in the second quarter. So they led the Rams for an entire quarter. Then, of course, the Rams scored 28 unanswered. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he has some success early on in the scripted plays, but it gets to be the point when the game flow comes in and all of a sudden, you know how the game's going and you have to be able to adjust accordingly. Jared Goff is not going to be able to do that, and neither are the Lions. Neither are the Lions, period. I expect if you are a fantasy owner of DeAndre Swift, he is going to have a very good game because I think it's going to be a blowout. And in the fourth quarter and what have you, I think it's going to be an opportunity for him to get those, late game yards where Jared Goff is just dumping it off to him. And I honestly would expect him to dump it off to him a lot in this game because when you don't want to read the coverage, if you don't have enough time, you're too afraid, whatever, the best chance for you is to dump it off to your running back, to hit your checkdowns, to throw to TJ Hawkinson, which he has refused to do. And I think that because of that, I think DeAndre Swift could be in for an annoying game if you're a Rams fan. But if you're a fantasy owner of DeAndre Swift, you could end up being pretty happy. I mean, in PPR, I think if he has 10 catches, I won't be shocked in this game.
Yeah, I'm under the impression that the Lions are just going to run the football.
No one can run on the Rams defense, so that's the problem.
Well, I feel like when you watch the Rams, after you run the ball enough, you have some success. I mean, the Rams do sometimes give up really, really weird running plays, but also keep in mind, it's more so about the fact that it's Jared Goff. I don't foresee the Lions trying to have Jared Goff throw the ball a ton against the Rams. I just don't. And it's interesting because, you think of advantages when players play old teams and everything. The advantage is really on the Rams, not Jared Goff, because you have an entire team that is familiar with Jared Goff, and Jared Goff is obviously familiar with the Rams, but the rest of the Lions aren't, if that makes sense. So Sean McVay, I think, definitely has the upper hand going into this game, and the Rams defense has the upper hand going into this game because they're very familiar, obviously, with Jared Goff. And kind of like you mentioned earlier, if I'm Jared Goff, I'm not looking forward to playing this Rams defense. It's going to be very, very tough, especially, with the way that the Lions offense has been playing this season. I just think they're going to do a lot of safe plays. I don't foresee them trying to do anything, taking any risks. I don't see Jared Goff airing the ball out much. I just don't see it happening. I think that, they're just going to try and keep the ball. They're not going to try to turn it over. But if you look at the Lions defense going up against the Rams offense, so they obviously have Michael Brockers, who we are very familiar with, who fan favorite for many Rams fans, was with the Rams for many years. He is up front for the Lions along with Nicholas Williams and Aleem McNeil, who is a rookie from North Carolina State. He's playing nose tackle for the Lions. And then they got guys like Alex Anzalone, Julian Okwara, Amani Aruware, who was actually on our show when he was a draft prospect, as was Will Harris, who plays safety for them. They have guys, when you watch the Lions defense, that they're actually not that bad. They don't necessarily play to their potential, I don't think. Like I've said, the Lions season, it's just they've just had weird games where it's just really, really bizarre to watch. Tracy Walker is also a safety for them. I don't mind their defense. I think they actually have, probably an underrated defense. I mean, they're not amazing by any means. But I will say, I don't foresee this defense giving the Rams offense, as electric as the Rams offense is, very many problems. I mean, I think, if we see what we saw last week from Matthew Stafford, where he did have a few plays against the Giants where he just held on to the ball way too long for some reason. If he does that against the Lions, yeah, he might run into a sack or two. I mean, Michael Brockers is still playing very well. McNeil, Anzalone, he might, but I don't think that they can bring as much pressure against the Rams as they would need to slow down the Rams passing attack. So if you are the Rams offense going against Detroit, what's your game plan?
That Deshaun Jackson guy that, they like to throw to every now and then. Well, they probably will like to throw to him in this game. The Detroit Lions are second to last in the league, only ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs in opponent yards per play. So that's not very good. You don't want to be there. The Chiefs give up 6.7. The Lions give up 6.4. For good measure, the Rams are 10th at 5.3. So you're averaging 6.7. Buffalo's the best in the league at 4.7. So they're averaging 2 yards less than the Kansas City Chiefs as the worst, and Detroit is 6.4. So essentially what that means is that every play, it seems like they're giving up, an average 6.4 yards per play. But that means they're giving up chunk plays. And that's the thing that's a killer. And that's the thing that is the equalizer. And that's what is costing them games. If you're wondering why this team can't finish, it's because their defense is giving up these chunk plays. And at the same time, it's unfortunate because their defense hasn't done a horrible job. I mean, when you really look at it, I haven't really been disappointed in the defense. Here's the thing. You take away the Niners game, it was 41-33. That was a weird one. The Packers game, 35-17. Okay. After that, they had the Ravens on the ropes. They only gave up 19 in that one. And that was a game-winning 66-yard field goal that went off the crossbar. And then you look at the Bears game, in Chicago, only gave up 24. If they had a solid, offense, they could probably win that game. And against the Vikings, they gave up 19. Once again, game-winning field goal. And then the Bengals, because constant 3-and-outs tired this defense, Cincinnati was able to throw all over them 34-11. So now you have the Rams, team that's coming off a blowout win on the East Coast. They traveled nearly 2,500 plus miles, and they're feeling great. But you might be able to get them early on, kind of feeling a little comfortable at home. Maybe not as, ferocious as, say, the Lions might be, knowing that this is their season. If the Lions win this game, that could propel them, moving on. They might have a better opportunity. They got the Eagles the week after. Then they have a bye. Then you have Pittsburgh. You have Cleveland. You have the Bears, Vikings, Broncos. Those are all winnable games if you can get back on track. But this is it. You have to win this game, and it's tough. The Rams are 5-1. It's not going to be easy. But desperate teams can be dangerous, Alexis. And if you remember, no one was giving the Bucs a chance in hell of beating the Rams in 2019, if you remember that game. They had just lost to rookie Daniel Jones. He had 5 touchdowns in that game. The Buccaneers started off the season, I think they were 0-3. And desperate team came to the Coliseum and they put up 55. So, yeah, you never know, because that's what the whole any given Sunday. But based on the knowledge that we have, what we've watched, because you and I have both watched a lot of Detroit Lions football, and based on what is on paper, there is no logical explanation for the Rams to ever be even close to losing this game to the Lions. But that's why they play the games. Exactly.
So getting into that point, we'll get into our score prediction and stat predictions. I guess we'll go first. I think that the Rams are going to have a lot of sacks this game. We talked about that right side of the Lions offensive line is just not very good. You've got Jared Goff, who likes to hold on to the football too long, and you've got the Rams, who are probably going to want to sack Jared Goff, all in good fun, but they're going to want to do that. So I'm having 5 sacks plus for the Rams defense. I think Aaron Donald will get at least one of those. I think Cooper Kupp is going to have another big game. I feel like there's a lot of momentum right now with Cooper Kupp, and I think Matthew Stafford and him are on a roll, and I could see him having another multi-touchdown game. And as far as the Lions go, I do think DeAndre Swift is going to have a big game. As far as touches go, at least. I think he's going to touch the ball a lot. I think, like I said, I'm predicting they're going to run the ball a lot, and I think a majority of that is going to be DeAndre Swift. So those are my stat predictions for this game. And Jake, what are yours?
Yeah, so, just looking at Jared Goff throughout this week and, going back, watching the film and then just like going through his stats and his time to throw, he's literally, 2.82 seconds to throw, which is a lot of time. It's like you said, I think he's going to be holding on the ball a lot. And, I just think the only thing that might stop him from being sacked so much is because of DeAndre Swift, because I feel like he just uses him like Todd Gurley he used in 2017. That's why Swift has like 6-7 catches a game, it seems like. So I still think they're going to sack him, though. I still think they're going to get to him a lot. Daniel Jones can move, and they got to him a ton. And that right side is like a gaping hole. So I'm going to say they sack him. This will be like the Washington game. I think they sack him 8 times. 8+, I'd say. It's not going to be a good game for Goff. And I kind of feel for him because it's going to be absolutely brutal to go back home, having this chip on your shoulder and, kind of feeling like you have a chance or kind of feeling like, you can pull it off, and then, just getting destroyed by your old team that didn't want you, that traded you away. It's going to be tough. But it's one of those things where it seems too obvious to be true because the NFL is never as simple as it is. But I feel like this is the game where everything that is said before the game is going to come true. Like, I feel like this is it's going to go exactly how you think. Don't overthink it. So that's what I will say.
Yeah. Definitely can agree with that one. Looking at score predictions at the beginning of the year, I'm going to stick with my prediction that I wrote down. I think the Rams are going to beat the Lions 34-14. I know some people might be like, oh, the Rams are going to score more than that. I won't be surprised if that happens, but like you and I both said, this Lions defense isn't that bad. I know their record is deceiving, but if you watch them play and you look at their talent, they're pretty decent. I don't think that they're going to, I think the Rams are going to score a lot, 34 points, but I don't think they're going to absolutely run all over the Lions defense, in any type of blowout type of way. As far as the 14 points for the Lions, like I said, in my opinion, the Rams defense has some times where they just give up really weird plays, especially in the run game. And like I said, I think DeAndre Swift's going to touch the ball a lot, and you know what? Maybe Jared Goff will even throw for a touchdown in SoFi. I don't know. But 34-14, that is my prediction for a Rams win. Jake, what do you got?
Yeah, I got 41-10. I don't think it's going to be a fun one for the Lions fans. I think this is, your stereotypical revenge game for Stafford. Going against the Lions, I think he's just going to go off, and it's not even really revenge, but you know what I mean? I mean, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He'll never admit it. I don't feel like a lot of players like to admit it. Jared Goff did, but yeah, I mean, this game means more than, it's not just a game. I do think Stafford will have some sort of feeling about it, but I think, it's going to be one of those games where, like I said, everything you're thinking, blowout, all of that, I do think it's going to actually be, it's going to be one of those games where everything you say does come true. It's not, okay, well, maybe we were a little ridiculous. No, like, honestly, I'm questioning if 8 sacks is enough. Like, I really am, because, just the Jared Goff that we've watched, over the years, it's like, he had a lot of time to throw in 2018 and 17. Very good offensive line. 2019 is where we saw a drop-off in offensive line production, and we saw Jared Goff still holding the ball like he had the time in 2017 and 18. And that didn't really change. 2020, the offensive line got a lot better, but that didn't really change how much he was holding on to the football. And then I look in 2021, and the right side is just very bad. And he just doesn't really care. I mean, he still tries, he has to hold the ball, long. So I think you factor in what he's done this year and how he hasn't really taken care of the football. A lot of fumbles, 4 interceptions. And then you basically put in the fact the Rams know everything about him, unlike other teams. Like, I mean, a lot of teams know him. He's played every team in the league at this point, but it's just different because the Rams know him. And I just feel like it's going to be one of those games. I mean, we haven't been able to see that yet because it's not like we saw Carson Wentz play the Eagles, So I think until that happens, I mean, that's the best comparison that I'd be able to make, but it's not going to happen this year. So Jared Goff playing against his former team, I don't see this going well for Goff. I'll say that.
Yeah, well, we will see, and I do hope Rams fans are welcoming a Jared Goff when he comes back to LA. I know, everyone felt a type of way, but I do hope that people, and I expect people to, be cheering him on and obviously not cheering for him this game, but
when he comes out of the tunnel, though, you mean?
Right. Yeah. Like when he comes out of the tunnel, keep it classy, be kind, regardless of his gameplay. The last couple seasons with the Rams, he did care a lot about Los Angeles and he did care a lot about the Rams and the fans. So I do hope and I do expect people to treat him with kindness. And, it would be very disappointing if that was not the case. But we will be cheering against him very actively as we should, because we'll be cheering on the Rams.
This is true.
It is true. And that's going to do it for us. We will be back, obviously, after the game with a recap episode. I'm talking about what happened during the game. But until then, guys, if you like what you hear, as always, please like and subscribe. You can follow us on social media at Downtown Rams. You can follow me on Twitter at the Alexis Craft. You can follow Jake at JK Bogan. And guys, we will see you after the game. But until then, stay safe, take care, and go Rams.
Bet with the 3-decade leader, BetUS. Join now for 125% bonus or 200% bonus with crypto using promo code RAMS125. And bet sports, casino, horses, pop culture, and more at betus.com. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code DTR at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and make sure to use code DTR. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.